Man, that was a really good recording we just did.
It was. It was
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah, we had James Rhys-Davies on to talk about IGPs,
which are part of ESPs,
which is part of Extract.
which is part of NOV.
There we go.
Yeah, Extract.
NOV.
I think probably people have heard, if they haven't heard already, you know, from earnings calls, it's a fairly new acquisition that we have. But I've just kind of heard the word Extract, but not really understood, like, what do they do? So it was really great to just get kind of the lowdown on, like, what is the technology? What are the people like? What's the company like? Because it seemed like there was a good fit with NOV.
Right.
But
and specifically both the people and all that, but we also got into about the actual technology for IGPs. And I was saying, I know, like you were saying with Extract, before I'd look at their webpage or I would talk to them, it was kind of like a lot of words on a page that I didn't quite understand.
Right.
And I feel like this clarified, and now I'm excited about the technology Extract brings.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed the conversation. Weihan, what did you think about the conversation?
Yeah, Weihan.
It's great
That's
conversation.
Weihan back there.
Running the keys, getting this show going. So
yeah, he's a good one to ask about every conversation we have. He's in here.
So yeah, we were all here for the conversation. It was really good. So I hope you all enjoy it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so you're straight here from the airport.
I'm straight.
This
here
is
from the
great.
airport.
You didn't come just here for us, did you?
Well,
You got-
yes and no. I mean,
You got
what I
other
did.
things on your plate. You're
Yeah,
not just hopping back on a plane.
No, yeah.
Because
yeah,
we
no.
could have done this virtually.
Yeah, no, it was quite funny because like when it was introduced as let's do the NOV live, I was like, okay, great. And then it was like, yeah, coming in the studio. I was like, I kind of went to Cora and I was like, I can't go to Houston for 2 hours. I've got to frame a trip around this. So I'm going to Midland. I'm going to Tulsa to see all the Extract guys.
Yeah,
and there's
kind of a tour
stuff going on. So so I thought, and I haven't been to Houston in 6 months. Well, since I left really 6 months ago. So and I wasn't in Houston 6 months ago really, but I was still traveling back and forth, like doing a lot of travel between Tulsa and Scotland. But then I've changed role and now I'm kind of more traveling to the Middle East and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Tulsa to Scotland.
Yeah.
Such a I feel like culture shift.
It was
culture shift.
Yeah, well, but it was great because I was just like, okay, I'll get my kind of American food on here. So I'll be like, I want to get a steak. I need to get barbecue food. I need to get Mexican food. And then when I go back home, I'll be like fish and chips, roast dinner, curry.
Just get
So
it all.
I would just cycle through it.
Yeah.
So.
That's great.
Well, James, before we really get into the topic, I maybe want to start. Can you introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yeah. James Rhys-Davies, technical director here at NOV Extract. So started with Extract back in 2022, and I've been involved in ESPs really since 2009. Developing different technologies for handling gas and sand, but it's all been around electric submersible pumps. And I came through an acquisition into Extract in 2022, and then NOV obviously acquired Extract.
Not that long ago.
No.
For us, yeah.
No, exactly. It was just January of 2024.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank
Glad
you.
to have you here.
Yeah,
good to
we've
be
had
here.
y'all a little bit. What was that? The customer showcase. I
Right.
think we stopped over at your booth and chatted. But I'm excited to get to like sit down and hear a little bit more about
That's right.
Extract. and
Yeah.
Get into it.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you mind? I know I have a little bit of spoilers of what we're talking about, which is IGPs. But can we maybe start at the beginning of the story? What are you here to tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, back in 2022, Extract acquired this technology, this contrahelical pump technology, and really with a vision of, creating good gas handling technology. And, we wanted to make some kind of a tool that really helped the performance of ESPs because unconventional wells produce a lot of difficult and challenging environments.
Yeah.
It's not just a smooth stream of gas. You get gas bubbles, you get gas slugging, and it's all around the horizontal wells have created all these challenging kind of undulating well profiles. And it's difficult. I mean, the drillers don't make it easy for us.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that's a challenge that we have to that we accept.
Right.
And that we thrive on. So the vision was let's let's develop this tool that will really help ESPs perform. You know, so that was the backdrop of, you know, how it started.
Is it specific to unconventional wells, or is it specific to horizontal drilling, or is it both? The problem of all these different types of gas that are coming up from the well. I know gas, and there's all types of things in any well, but the problem or that extract or the IGP is specifically trying to solve, is it really geared to like a non-conventional use, or is it really could it be for anything?
I mean, it could be for a conventional well that has gas handling issues.
Okay.
But, you know, it's the real pinch point in the Permian is these unconventional wells, because of the complex nature of the of the flow that occurs, and all these, and one of the big issues as well is the rapid drawdown that we get because of these unconventional wells, because we're going into the shale, and so there's a steep decline. So we get to gas a lot quicker than you would, say, in a conventional well, where you might go below the bubble point and gas breaks out after maybe a few years.
Right.
You know, you can get to gas within 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
You know, depending on the well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a challenge that is, you know, there for a daily basis for our operators.
Okay.
Gotcha.
While we're on kind of the background of extract too, I wanted to ask you, I know I've heard, just because helping with social media and the transition of y'all joining the NOV team, about y'all have, I think it's the 3 R's, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about those?
Yeah, no, that's.
I'm just curious. I haven't actually really talked to someone about them, but I like that.
Well, I mean that's a big thing. I mean, there's a couple of things that we like to live by. The 3 R's, which is relentless, responsive, and reliability, and you know that's kind of the 3 pillars that helped to start Extract back in 2018. You know, that was their kind of core being, and it's really catered around, you know, the customer, being, you know, relentless and chasing the opportunities, and also making sure that we're solving the problems and getting our equipment there, you know, on time, being responsive, and of course reliability is also a very big thing, and making sure the equipment is you know, fit for purpose and gets the runtime.
You're saying all the things that just like fit right into, I think, what NOV is. Like, so what you're saying right now is like, of course, this seems like a logical fit. For y'all to be here.
Yeah, it is actually. It's been. I think it is a good fit from what I've seen, because I've been exposed now to more NOV side of things, just being, you know, just the role that I'm in now. So it does seem like a good fit between the companies. Yeah, and then the other thing, which I really like that we try and live by, is the extreme ownership concept. And that's you know, that's a big thing. You know, it's kind of decentralized command, giving leadership, giving empowerment to, you know, leaders throughout the company to stand up and be like, this is my issue, this is my problem, I own it. I don't point the finger and blame. You know, I take on the challenge.
Also, a flattened hierarchy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it, you know, it's to try and get a strong culture of teamwork as well.
Right.
It's like Jose and his whole team kind of knew what they were doing.
Interesting. Yeah, that's awesome. And it makes for better technology when you have people who care about, like, deeply care personally about what they're doing. It begets better technology. Is that the right word?
That might be the right word. Yeah.
And the development process of the technology was really fun to be part of, because, you know, it was quite a different technology, and it's certainly not something that we as Extract had ever designed before. So it was quite a blank canvas for the product engineers. So, you know, it was, you know, how long are we going to make this tool? You know, because we wanted to make an all-in-one tool that kind of brought together, you know, 2 or 3 different technologies to make this kind of all-in-one gas handling tool to, you know, to support ESPs. So blank canvas, you know, how long do we make it? How many stages do we put here?
Right.
Single or double gas separator, you know. So for us, it was a great sort of brainstorming, creative.
That's fresh meat
sort
for
of
an
process.
engineer.
Yeah. It really was. You know. So it was, you know, and sort of being in that kind of creative and innovative sort of area was great, because it wasn't just the product engineers that had to solve problems. I mean, manufacturing was a challenge as well, especially in the
you
prototype.
can envision the thing, but then you have to make it.
I think that's interesting. You talk about the creative process. because sometimes people don't think of the engineering field as the creative process, but it very much is. I used to be an engineer, so I can relate to those different types of creativity. Like you are creating something from nothing, basically.
Yeah.
Were there any, I find when you are making something and you seem to have zero limits or free reign, or making something from scratch, it's hard sometimes to make a decision on like, okay, here's the direction we're going to go, because you almost can choose so many different paths. Did you have to make limitations for yourself in this process, or are there already limitations for you enough to it kind of guided your mission of the creation?
Yeah, there were certain constraints of, okay, this is the kind of flow rates that we want to be in.
Okay.
This is we've got you can't really handle a tool that's longer than X, so we kind of limited it to 25 feet as a total length, because it just more practical things. We want a 4-inch OD tool because that's the most common tool that's used in the Permian. So there was natural constraints that kind of boxed us in, but it gave us enough of an envelope to play within that box.
That's good. Cool. Just curious about that.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest questions is, do we make a full tool all in one housing, or do we make it modular? And we ended up going the modular route. But there was a lot of debate around that, because there's pros and cons of both situations. So, but we decided to go to the modular route, which, up front made it really more difficult to work out how to build, because you've got these 3 modules that are sort of either 8 feet and 10 feet long, and you've got to align them, and there was all sorts of headaches. I mean, as product engineers, we were just drawing pretty pictures, right? We were like, hey, manufacturers, go build it. But I mean, in all reality,
that's a whole different thing. Yeah,
it is.
Drawing and making is a different world. Yeah,
it is. I mean, no, we actually worked. I mean, that's testament to actually to Extract, because this was, we had a lot of different challenges with the design, supply chain, and building and production, and bringing 3 tools in one and managing the production flow and physically building it, and all the issues we had in the early days of trying to build it. But we all came together. It was a cross-functional team that really worked together to get the first 9 out, and then we learned a lot from building those first 9. Right. So that then we went to, when we commercialized it, it was we had sort of we went up a generation.
Right.
Gen 1 to 1.1.
You get rid of a lot of that waste of learning.
And so
the process.
So now it's a lot smoother. Getting the supply chain flow and the pre-production flow and all of that stuff. And so that was it was a lot of headaches and a lot of trying to figure it out. But we got there, and we have a tool that we're really proud of. So
yeah, I like hearing that kind of background first. I like the story, so that we can understand. Now that we have it, I wanted to ask, can you explain what is it?
What is it?
IGP?
That's a good point,
but I think it's important to know the process that got us here. So what is it?
So we call it the integrated gas processor, and kind of on its it kind of does what it says on the tin, right? So it's integrating 3 different technologies. It's handling gas and it's kind of processing it in a different way. So we've got 3 modules. The lower module, which uses contrahelical pump technology, is there to sort of homogenize and charge the fluid. We then have a center module that is the gas processing, the gas separation system. And it's basically a double gas separation system. So what we're trying to do there is trying to get as much of the free gas out of the liquid as possible. Yeah. Because ESPs, they're great at handling liquid.
Yeah, pumps don't like
gas. Yeah, exactly. Compressors like gas, don't like liquid.
Right.
Pumps like liquid, they don't like gas. So we're trying to get as much of the free gas out as possible.
Right.
So that's the center module. And then the upper module is the compression module, which is, as it sounds, it's doing the compressing. So any other free gas that's in there, we're trying to get back into solution. So either make the bubble smaller or get it back, pressurize it and get it back into liquid form.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what the compressor does.
And this is all done downhole.
That's all done downhole. Wow. So you've got for the typical ESP string, you've got your motors, your seal, then you've got your intake or gas separator, from a traditional standpoint, and then you've got your production pumps. Well, we take out the gas separator and gas handler and put in sort of plug and play IGP tool in that, and so it's where we bring the fluid in and process it and get put it into the bottom stage of the production pump, because the production pump is doing all the heavy lifting.
And-
It's doing the 10,000
Okay.
feet of lift.
Right.
And so it performs better when it's just liquid.
Right.
Better flow, better head. it's
So
a
is
better-
all the traditional gas separation technology on the surface? Or are there traditional solutions right now that are downhole? Just forgive my ignorance.
So when we talk about, yes, there are separators up top, but that's more for your sort of facility production
Okay.
separation.
All right.
Downhole, we want to separate specifically because the production pump, we don't want the gas in the pump. We want that pump to be pumping as much liquid as possible and the gas. So what we do is we vent the gas out the backside, or we compress it, as
Okay.
much as we can into the down into the pump.
Okay.
Wow. And you mentioned the modularity. Is that because are there instances where you would only need parts of it, or like what was the benefit of why y'all ended up going towards modularity rather than, like you said, making just one thing?
Well, we have 3 versions of the upper module. So we've got 3 IGPs. They all look the same, but we can configure it. And that was really because we wanted to be able to have different flow rates and different aspects. And
Right.
also, what it means is that as future development goes, we can be like, okay, well, we've got that upper, lower module. Let's maybe change the stage in there, take it out and put it in. And so it just makes it, from a production standpoint, it's easier to build. Whereas, because if a module changes length a little bit, well, you haven't sacrificed a lot of stuff that goes in a full housing. So we wanted to be able to sort of configure it,
Right.
for the future.
Right.
So.
Cool. And I did want to ask too, I know when we saw your booth again at the customer showcase, there were some VR goggles. And then when we were planning for this, we were trying to see if there were VR goggles.
yeah.
I'm just curious, what are those? Is that so people can kind of see, what it would be like downhole, or what's inside those?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a video of the IGP sort of being sort of built in the factory. So it's kind of like and you can kind of look around and it kind
It's
of.
not part of the product. It's just a learning tool.
Right.
It's just
right,
yeah,
right.
it's a learning tool, and it just
Yeah.
shows okay, here's how the modules
Yeah.
bolt together, and this is
cool.
kind of how it installs downhole. So it's just kind of a graphic, and it's kind of a fun, kind of neat, kind of seeing it 3D because it's it's always good, pictures worth 1,000 words, and
Yeah.
a video's worth 1,000 pictures, or whatever the saying is.
So for a person who I don't understand this side of the space very well, help me understand with what is the IGP really doing that a traditional solution fails to do, or what is it doing better, or is it replacing a certain technology, or is it really upping the ante, or is it a complete step change?
It's it's there really to replace the conventional gas separator and gas handler as a step up improved performance.
Gotcha.
Right. So what we've seen, because we've had over 100 installs now, which has been great. We've seen some really good success with
Nice.
it, and what we're seeing is that we're getting greater uptime and fewer shutdowns, and that's the big thing. So
Yep.
so what you really see on surface is, when you're operating a well that goes down for gas, is that it stops flowing, the motor heats up, and then then the drive will shut it down based
Right.
on the motor temperature getting too hot, so it shuts down. So if you can keep it running, then you've got better uptime, which means more oil and liquid.
Money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the other thing that we've seen as well is, because we're doing a great job of handling the gas and removing the gas from the fluid, it's improving how much liquid it can actually handle, because there's more space for liquid than gas, and so we're actually just producing more naturally, as well as greater uptime. So that it's just improving the overall performance of producing more oil per day.
That's great.
So it's So I mean, we've seen up to about 10% uptime.
Oh, nice.
Improvement, which is great. If you can increase your liquids by 10%,
Right.
then that's good for the customer.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Absolutely. How do people when they reach out? Is it just someone gives you a call and then y'all take a look at their project and what it needs and how to get it there, or how do you work with your customers? How could they reach out and start that conversation?
Yeah. I mean, our account managers work with our with our customers, and they they'll say, right, we have a well and they fill out a design sheet of these are the parameters, and then we can, it's ESPs are very configurable. So it's it's a stocked item. You stock your pumps, you stock your motors, and you have various different sizes. Then it's like the applications engineering team will look at it and be like, okay, well, you need this number of pumps, this size, you need this size of motor, and then it's it's like plug and play of all the equipment. So
So it is like a standardized solution with different variables that you can choose from.
Yeah,
like the bottom. I'm sorry.
You can change
the bottom
motor,
section can be different types.
sizes.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you need a smaller horsepower, a larger horsepower. A shallower a well would need less pumps.
Right.
A deeper well needs more pumps, and so so it's configurable. Then we have different metallurgies if it's if it's going into a more corrosive environment. So and so there is a certain number of configurations that you can kind of go around.
Right. So it's customizable to a point, but there's a standard set of items that you have to choose from.
Yeah.
So not every solution is a complete custom solution from the beginning, or doing a new customized solution. It's all just here's a standardized set of kit that we have, and you can select from it based on what the exact need is.
Exactly, and let's build it. And so that's why you can service a customer pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If you have the stuff on the shelf. I mean, there are times where a customer will come in and it'll be like, right, well's gone down. This is a high profile well. It's producing a significant amount of oil. We're getting the rig on it tomorrow. We need a pump in 48 hours.
Right.
So do the design, to get us the quote, and get the equipment to site in 48 hours. And so that's where the responsiveness and relentlessness comes in from our pillars, because we have to be on call for our customers, because when a well goes down, you got to be quick.
Right.
And you got to do that. So
it's like the specificness that you get from custom without the wait time, or I guess from doing it totally from scratch.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and of course then because when you so our field service and our sales teams in the different regions that we play in are obviously geared to that kind of business model of you got to be quick, and so you got to have the equipment on hand, and you get used to a field where a series of wells will be fairly similar. So it's not like you're configuring something new all the time.
Right,
It's like, okay, well, we know for this field it's going to be like that. Let's make sure we got that in stock, and then let's send it to the get it prepped for the field and get it going. So it's that's a whole different ball game. It's funny actually, because I've mostly been based in sort of the manufacturing, engineering, operations side of things, and I'm kind of moving over to the sort of the business development side. And so seeing, the two different businesses work very differently. You've got the field ops and sales, and then you've got sort of HQ manufacturing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see how they operate, and of course how they work together.
Yeah, kind of a dance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, I think my last question I had for you is maybe a bigger picture one, but now that y'all are part of the NOV global family, us in marketing say, but the NOV family, what do you think that's going to bring to kind of looking ahead for our customers? Like what is that union?
Well,
bring?
as I mentioned before, Extract is a young company. It was started in 2018, so it was purely a US-based ESP supplier.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what's going to be great working with NOV is, as you said, leveraging the global footprint of NOV. That's kind of what I'm looking at, is looking at the various Eastern Hemisphere opportunities, and how do we grow, and how do we leverage NOV's facilities, NOV's people, and NOV's just reach and contacts to be able to grow, not just in the US, which is obviously a big growth area for us, but how do we grow internationally, and so no, I'm super excited about all of that. So yeah.
Excellent.
Gosh, I'm excited just listening to this.
Good.
So that's great.
Yeah, let's get excited together.
Yeah, you've done an excellent job of helping me understand it, because you might have come from an engineering, but I did not. So sometimes when I'm reading stuff online, I'm like, I read a lot of words. I know what none of them mean. Sorry, but this has made it make a lot more sense. And it's
good.
exciting. It's cool.
I think
hearing
it's
about
just
something.
the technology is fascinating that we can do all that. And
It's born out of pain from the customer, and it's an ongoing challenge handling gas in the in the production space. It's it's challenging, but we're rising to that challenge, I believe. So
That's great.
It's good.
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
James, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hey, no,
Yeah.
thanks for the invitation.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'll have you again.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Bye.
So we had, I guess we just had a show with John Rhys-Davies. Nope. He's in the Lord of the Rings.
I don't even know what's funny, but yeah, I
I
glad you
don't
mentioned
even
that.
know